Self-Publishing Made Simple, where we demystify self-publishing for new and aspiring authors. Writing, publishing and marketing a children's book doesn't have to be complex. Now we join April Cox, helping you make self-publishing simple.
Hello everyone, this is April Cox, and it is my pleasure to bring you today our special guest speaker, Mary Nhin. She is someone who has been a mentor of mine. I have followed her journey many months on, and I am just so excited to have her here on the topic today of mental fortitude and grit to withstand the publishing journey. And for those of you that are going to be starting our author work group on Thursday, this is a very timely topic. I want to just give you a little bit of background about Mary. She is a co-founder and franchisor of Ninja Sushi. She is a founder of Grow Grit Press, and she creates these amazing ninja books among many other series that she has also. It's amazing. You're an inspiration, a consultant and advisor to many with entrepreneurship, small business, writing, self-publishing, PR, and marketing. You are a machine, and we are so honored to have you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for the introduction, April. I'm so happy to be here to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is mental toughness and grit. Can you still hear me? I don't know why the screen disappeared. Okay. So, you know, April did a really great introduction. I am a franchisor of Ninja Sushi, and my husband and I started a sushi chain probably over a decade ago. We do over $8 million in revenue. It's just a local small pop sushi chain that we started, and we're just now starting to franchise that. We are also into lots of other different entrepreneurship ventures, including real estate and consulting, among others. And you guys know, or hopefully you're familiar with our publishing company, Grow Grit Press. And so we do a lot of consulting with publishing and entrepreneurship and restaurateurs. So to be a successful publisher, I believe you have to have the holy trinity. And by that, I mean you either have to have the technical or artistic skills, marketing skills, but there's also a third thing that you have to have. And I really, truly believe in that. This is the subject of our episode today, and that is mental toughness or grit skills. Like, how much grit do you have? So in the comments, if you could just say, rate yourself from 1 through 10, how much mental toughness or grit would you say you had when you're facing an obstacle or adversity? Just go ahead and rate yourself 1 through 10, and then I can just kind of see it. If you're familiar with that, that's in the chat box there. And I can see, oh, that's great. These are all really high scores. And so that tells me that you guys have faced some adversity and probably you have overcome it. And so in anything that you do in life, especially business, you're going to face hardship and obstacles. And it's how you respond to that that is going to lead you down to this path of success or failure. And so that's what we're going to focus on today. And if you're going to take anything out of this, I really hope that you do look into developing this piece of the Holy Trinity within your personal life and your business life. So you can find a lot of information about publishing and the technical skills and the marketing skills needed to be a successful publisher. You can find that on my Patreon page. and my Gritty Facebook community group. But I'm sure April has also had many, many speakers talk about marketing and the technical skills needed to survive in today's Amazon space. But today we are focusing on the one thing that a lot of people don't talk about, and that is mental toughness. And it, like I said earlier, it is very dear to my heart. And so I'm a big believer in starting with why. And if you have ever seen Simon Sinek's TED Talk on YouTube about starting with why, you know that it focuses on vision and mission statement. And that is huge for me. Like setting the proper foundation so that you can scale up, whether your goal is to sell out for 6 or 7 figures, or if you're developing a stream of income of 5 or 6 figures for your family, whatever your goal is, it is a must that you have this foundation. That means we've got to set a vision and mission statement, because the publishing journey is a really long and tumultuous one. And until you know where you're going, you might be lost and confused most of the time, because we've got information, thrown at us from every direction, and we don't know who to listen to, where to go, and what to do. But if you have that vision and mission statement cemented, then it's much easier to make these small decisions. So I'm going to draw an analogy here, because I'm really big on like metaphors and analogies, because it's easier to visualize, and some people are visual learners. So the analogy goes like this. Say that you're headed on your summer vacation and you're going on a destination, right? But the problem is you don't know the address and you don't have a map. So you will undoubtedly get lost. You will be sidetracked, and you won't know which way to go, which road to take, which way to turn. So it is your business, your self-publishing business is very similar. So if you have your vision and mission statement set in stone, then it's much easier to accomplish those goals. So there's a lot of pitfalls in our publishing journey, and you will get frustrated, and you might even quit or be led astray off of your intended destination or goals. But if you have this vision and mission statement, then it will be a lot easier to achieve those goals which you intended in the first place.
So Mary, it's April. Mind if I interrupt you with a question?
Sure.
So when I know a lot of authors, myself included, when I first got started, I really thought about what was my goal or mission for the book. Like, why did I do it? What was my goal for that? But it sounds to me like what you're saying is you need to take a step back, and it's more of of a higher level than just for a specific book. Would that be safe to say?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, April. I think you're right. A lot of people think in the beginning of a publishing journey, they may think, okay, well, I feel like I want to write this book. I've always wanted to write a book, so I want to write a book. But so I'm asking you, if you really want, so I think kind of really big. I'm always looking to scale up, and I'm always looking to add a stream of income for my family, or I'm looking to help other people develop the financial freedom that we've been able to enjoy. So in order to do that, I believe that you have to think more out of the box, and you have to think a little bit bigger than just one book or just yourself, because ultimately, I think what people are seeking is happiness. Like, the reason why we do a lot of things is we feel like, okay, we want to make a little money, or we want the fame, right? The fame or fortune. But really what we're seeking is the happiness that the fame and fortune can afford us in the long term. I'm not talking about the little elation that you feel after you achieve 100,000 subscribers on your YouTube, or after you sell 100,000 books. I'm talking about the long-term happiness that truly fulfills us within.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people do go into it with a little bit more, with a little less goals than maybe what I have mentioned already. But I have always encouraged people to think a little bit bigger than they initially might have, because it's much easier to start with a bigger foundation and grow from there than start with a small foundation and go back and try to fix and correct everything. Because you don't really know where your 1 book, 2 books, or 3 books will lead you, right? So it's really important for me when I'm consulting with business owners and authors and publishers that they're looking beyond their own tunnel vision. So it's really easy to have this tunnel vision where you really can't see outside of like your little box because you're working within it. And that is, I'm just going to draw from Michael Gerber's E-Myth book, and it just talks about, you know, how the entrepreneur business owner is so busy working in the business, it's hard to work on the business. So to work on the business, you have got to see beyond what you might have envisioned initially for yourself and for your business or books. So I'm going to draw a parallel now because I think my message, or your message, your vision and mission statement, your message must be congruent to your branding. So on my logo, Grow Grit Press, that's why you'll always see a leaf in my logo, because I'm constantly growing and continually evolving. I'm always listening to different webinars and just reading, constantly learning. It never stops. And you also won't see me talk a lot about my income much, because it's not my mission or my end goal. You'll see me posting a lot about volunteering with, to read to underprivileged children, working with the homeless, donating to organizations. I really like to spend time with new entrepreneurs or those that don't want to keep their day job and want to break loose from it. I have a really soft spot in my heart for those that want to create financial freedom for themselves and for their family, because I have a lot of friends that are trapped in the 9-to-5, are trapped in the rat race. And I know that there is a life beyond that. So my mission is to help others achieve financial freedoms. But if we're talking about the mission statement, we can go back to my publishing company, Grow Grit Press, and our mission is to help kids build the mental toughness and grit to withstand life's challenges. My goal is to reach as many people as possible with this can-do message. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to build grit and mental toughness. And then I really want to spend the majority of time taking questions and answers, because I really like organic, unscripted podcast. And I want to entertain any questions that you guys might have, because I I've done I dived really deep into publishing this last year. I started in April 2019 and I published 26 books, and now we're selling over 100,000 books a year. So that's our target to hit this year. So we're on track right now. We're selling an average of 300 books a day, and it took me only a year to achieve that. So I will be entertaining any questions at the end in regards to that. But we're going to talk a little bit about how to build mental toughness and grit before we get to the questions and answers, because like I said, this is really dear to my heart. So we already talked a little bit about building a strong foundation by being intentional about your vision statement and your mission. So now I'm going to show you how to build a strong house, which is your mind, so that it won't be knocked down by the wind, also known as negativity. So the there's three ways in which you can build your mental toughness and grit. And I think a lot of you are familiar with this already if you have read some of my books. And from judging from your scores, you are very familiar with these methods on building mental toughness. Okay, so the first way to build mental toughness is confidence. And that is like choosing to speak to yourself in a really positive way. Because honestly, we all have a negative voice in our heads. I have one. I have named her Susan. And I tell Susan to shut up a lot because we all know she won't go away. Like, your negative voice is not going away. So you just have to shut her up or choose not to listen to her. And it is really important that you become aware of this negative voice, because like, she can show up anytime, any place, anywhere. Like, when I started my publishing journey, she was like, you can't write. You didn't know English when you started kindergarten. You don't know how to draw. You don't know how to hire an illustrator. What do you think you're doing? So, you know, we all have this negative voice, and to build that confidence, I am a big believer in choosing a mantra to kind of like repeat to yourself. And my chosen mantra is, I can do this. I can do it. It's going to take some time. I'm going to fail at first, but I can do it. One of my favorite mantras that my son uses, because he's a very competitive tennis player, is, everything will be okay as long as I try my best. So that is allowing him to fail, but it also encourages him to obviously try his best. So I just want you to take a couple of moments to write down your mantra. And if you'd like, you can share it in the chat. Share it in the chat. Okay. All right. So now we're going to move on to the second C. The second C is a little bit longer, but it's equally as important, if not more important. And that is feeling capable. So to develop mental toughness and grit, you have got to feel capable. But to do this, to feel capable, we have got to set out goals. And we're not talking, my goals are not like traditional goals where you set out short-term and long-term goals. I'm a very big proponent on setting very specific goals, and those can be broken down into 3 types of goals. Okay, so the first one is process goals. These are the only types of goals that can be controlled. So the other 2 you will not be able to control. The 3 goals are process, performance, and outcome goals. Okay, process, performance, and outcome. So process goals are, an example of process goals are like I would like to post every day on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever your platform is. I would like to post once a day, 3 times a week. So that is a process goal, okay? Another example of a process goal would be like, I would like to write 30 minutes a day so that I can release a book once every 6 months. That is a process goal. That will help you achieve your mission. That will get you to achieve your vision, okay? The second type of goal, performance goals. Performance goals cannot be controlled, but it is a metric to show you if you are on the right track to achieving your mission and your vision. So a performance goal would be like, I was just mentoring a girl. We set a performance goal of selling 100 books a day. Is it achievable for her? Yes. If she can outline her goals, if she sticks to her mission and her vision statement, she stays focused, and if she works on those 3 C's, right? So we're on the second C, of feeling capable. Okay, so the last kind of goal that I want to share with you is an outcome goal. You cannot control outcome goals, but outcome goals give us a definitive kind of goal to reach, right? So an example of an outcome goal would be like, I would like to reach 100,000 kids a year, which means I need to sell 277 books a day. So that's 100,000 books a year, right? So to achieve this, these are the things that I'm going to do, which you all have already outlined in your process and performance goals. So all of this should align with your vision and mission statement. Okay. So the third C is carefree, being carefree. It's so easy to say, like, just be carefree. But it's super hard to be carefree because we all care about what people think. But my consulting includes using tools to help you become carefree. And one of those tools could be like minimizing the importance of the activity that is making you feel fear or risk. So being carefree doesn't mean taking a laissez-faire attitude towards your goals or daily activity. Being carefree in regards to publishing means that when you catch yourself worrying too much about the future or things that you can't control for fear of what others might say, means that you basically ask yourself a question, and it's a really deep, good question to ask yourself when you're feeling fear. What is the absolute worst thing that can happen? So let's just take an example here. I had to set a process goal of posting a video every day for 14 days. I wanted to read my book or some book, children's book, any book pertaining to my subject that I wanted to focus on. But I'm scared. Like, me on video, it's not pretty. My voice sucks. I don't really like the way I sound. Okay, so what we need to say here is, okay, what's the absolute worst thing that can happen, Mary? People might laugh at me. People won't watch. I'll have like 5 views. Okay, so this is how we minimize. We write down what's the worst thing that can happen, and then how likely will that come true? It could be likely, but very unlikely that it will come true, because the truth of the matter is no one's focusing on you. No one is focusing on what you're saying, what you're doing. They're only concerned about the passion coming out of your heart and out of your voice, right? So what I say about being carefree is, I think one of the best takeaways from this episode is just like, that's why it's so important to like be passionate about your vision and your mission statement, because the passion will come through in your voice and in your actions and what you do. And so being carefree basically means, not really caring what people might think, because you're so passionate about what you're doing. And so that kind of just summarizes the 3 C's, being confident, capable, and carefree. And that's going to be how you build your mental toughness and grit, utilizing the 3 C's and achieving your vision statement, your vision and your mission statement. So now comes the fun part. I will take questions and answers, and anything you might want to talk about today.
Thank you, Mary. That was a great introduction and wonderful opportunity for all of these amazing authors to get some one-on-one help here. So if you are feeling comfortable and you want to take yourself off of mute to ask a question, you can feel free, or you could post it into the chat area. I'll go ahead.
Oh.
So one thing that I was thinking about, Mary, when you were starting to talk through what grit is and you asked us to rank ourselves, I started to think back on the younger me who was, graduating college and was so full of passion and grit and had been through, I was the first to go to college and, I worked 2 jobs, went to school full time. I was a mom. Like I had all of that grit and all of that. And now I kind of see it as I get older, that has changed. Do you find that grit, like it's not that I don't have grit, but it's at a different level. And maybe it's not, maybe it's my passion is different, or maybe, I don't know. I just wonder do you see that, kind of ebb and flow or changes to what one might consider having grit as a younger person versus as you kind of progress through your career?
Yeah. So grit is a muscle. It's a mental muscle. So if we don't use it, what happens is it atrophies, just like if you were working out and strength training your arms, right? After a while, it gets toned. But if you don't work out for like 8 weeks, it disappears. It gets flabby again, right? So that's why it's so important to continually challenge ourselves and do something out of your comfort zone. Otherwise, you lose it. You will lose your mental toughness and grit if you do not practice it.
That's a great point. We have Jamie asking, Mary, when you first started, did you become discouraged, and how long, and what did it take for you to overcome that?
That's a really great question, Edna. Jamie. I'm very familiar with adversity. I mentioned earlier when I entered kindergarten, I didn't know any English. I was made fun of when I was younger. I grew up in a really great town, though. Like, people treated me really well, but you just that's how it is when you're young, right? When we started our restaurant chain, I did have 2 failed restaurants. I have lost over $350,000. I did feel discouraged a lot during my business journey, but if adversity has taught me anything, it's that success comes to those who do not give up, who get back up and learn from their mistakes and failures. And so I translated all of what I learned into the publishing journey that I went on. And with the publishing journey, I did feel discouraged from time to time. And I think if you didn't, you would not to be human, because we all have setbacks, and I definitely had some setbacks. You know, the first 2 series I launched, the Grow Grit series that I co-authored with my 14-year-old son, and the Unicornpreneur series did not take off like the Ninja Life Hacks series. Actually, I'm thinking about relaunching it now that I've learned everything about marketing and, you know, inbound and outbound marketing, and seeing how far I can go with those 2 series. But I did feel discouraged with a couple of those launches, that it didn't go as well as I had thought. You said, how long and what did it take to overcome that? So I've been on my journey for a year, my publishing journey. In April 2019, Kobe and I made less than $100, my 14-year-old son and I. We made less than 100. This month we'll be close to making 15,000 a month. How long did it take? So it took about, I would say, how long did it take to overcome the discouragement? You know, I never, like, when I get discouraged, it just like fuels me more. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like, oh, I failed. I'm going to show that. I'm going to show you. So it's just something within me. I have a drive to succeed no matter what it is. And when I lose, it drives me even more. So I wouldn't say that it kept me down for very long.
Okay, so what was the first few steps when achieving the crazy successful book sales? Was it the number of books or the marketing? This is from Edna.
Okay, hi Edna. What was the first few steps when achieving your book sales? First few steps. There's a lot of steps involved in achieving book sales, and I can't cover it all here. However, I have a Patreon page, patreon.com/Mary Nhin, that's Nhin, where you can learn a lot of my marketing tactics and strategies. And you can also join my Facebook .com/groups/Grow Grit Life. That's Grow Grit Life, where I share a lot of marketing tactics there also. Was it the number of books or the marketing? I don't believe that is the number of books, but I do believe marketing has to do with your experience, right? So a lot of what you need to be successful in your book sales is 3 parts. The Holy Trinity. Does anybody remember? Technical skills, marketing skills, and mental toughness. Are you going to get back up when you don't achieve those sales?
Okay, so we have Taryn says, sometimes I feel paralyzed in decision making, especially since I'm a first-time author. How do you settle within your heart to make a decision and feel confident enough about it?
This is a really great question, Taryn. I get this question quite a bit, and I believe that the reason why we become indecisive or we get analysis paralysis is because we don't have a defined vision or mission statement. So one of my goals with Grow Grit Co., which is the umbrella company of Grow Grit Press, is to help people become successful in their lives and their life's endeavors. So again, this draws back to, you know, your ultimate goal. whether it's fortune or fame, but it ultimately leads to happiness is what I believe what we're truly seeking. And, you know, just aligning your vision statement, your vision and mission statement to your goals. And that will definitely help you kind of make those everyday decisions and catapult you into the next step of achieving whatever goals that your heart is desiring.
I used to have a mentor that used to tell me, fail fast, fail forward. So when I found myself getting stuck on something and you know, not wanting to take a step forward, I would remember that, because you're not going to be right 100% of the time. But if you make a decision and you weigh your alternatives, then regardless, it's kind of that what's the worst that could happen? You learn something from it, and then you try something else. You know, that whole Thomas Edison thing of you just figure out one more way for not to create the light bulb, and you just keep going.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that.
So what's your next big goal? It seems you have achieved everything. That's from Edna.
Oh, okay. Hi, Edna. Thank you for the question. What is my next big goal? Well, you know, my next big goal is to franchise Ninja Sushi, which we're working on a franchise training system right now. We're going to start a big marketing push really soon. And so my goal with Ninja Sushi is to provide healthier alternatives to families in every American neighborhood, because our fast food landscape is just, there's not very many options. And so I want to make sushi healthy, Asian fare and sushi, and a healthier alternative to families everywhere.
Nice.
I have a question. It sounds like you have a really good support group system. Your family's on board, your kids are on board, you're in business with your husband. Talk to us about that support group, and if that also comes out of the foundation of your vision and mission.
Was that Toby? I couldn't see
Kathy.
who it was from. Oh, Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Yes, I really believe in having people who are smarter than me around me, and having a support group and not doing everything yourselves. I think the biggest curse it's kind of a double-edged sword. I wouldn't say it was a curse. If you're an author illustrator, it is a double-edged sword, because you're wanting to do everything yourself and you get so used to that you don't really know how to delegate. But to grow and to scale up, it's so important to be able to delegate and to be able to hire people who are smarter, more talented, so that you can focus on things that you're passionate about, that you want to do, and provide opportunities for people on your team that couldn't be provided if you were trying to do everything yourself. I don't know if that answered your question, Kathy.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mary? So I know many of us, Mary, are really looking. Oh, Toby says she left a question. I think it.
Oh.
Let's hold on. Toby. I'm not seeing it.
Okay, so I asked, hi.
Hi there.
Hi, Toby.
So I published my first book in December of 2018, and now I'm currently working on my fourth book, and the series has never taken off. So I've done a lot of webinars. I've done a lot of Oh, I've done everything, you know, you name it, the rockapreneur, all of that stuff, and ads, and I'm part of your group, your Patron group. Is it time to get a one-on-one consulting spot at this juncture? Because I just don't see it moving.
Yeah, you know, it's up to you. I think that if you did do a consultation, I could look more in depth into your Amazon ads. I'm very familiar with your books already. I know that you've already done everything you can to improve the listing.
I've done the blurbs, redone the descriptions, I've redone categories. Right now I'm in the midst of switching some categories around. I've really analyzed it. I've read, I do believe I have a good knowledge base on my brand of this particular series. And, you know, I've got 2 more books to release on it. And I would like for it to at least show some kind of movement.
Yeah.
And my goals are a little bit more towards giving it back. Basically, I do a lot of volunteer work being retired.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it's nice to have it make back the money I put into it, my main goal is to just get the book out there, like you said, get the book out into as many little paws as I can. And children literacy is my main focus. You know, the younger that they start reading, the better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where my heart's in this whole project.
Yeah. Have you done any community projects with children's literacy or?
Well, locally.
Yeah.
Locally, I've done the visits and all of that stuff, but
well, I think one thing that is bouncing off my head right now is we should definitely add that to your metadata into your Amazon listing and say, hey, you know, as a publisher, we don't donate a portion of our proceeds back to, I'm just going to Pajama Program. This is a nonprofit that I work with also. And that kind of brings awareness to the publisher. Hey, this publisher gives back. She really is concerned about children's literacy. That's one organic, free way to improve your listing.
yeah.
But I think what you're wanting is something beyond that, which is optimizing your Amazon ads.
Yes.
So for that, I would need to see you would need to share your screen with me, and I need to see your ads.
All right. I will be in touch with you. How's that?
Okay, sounds good. I look forward to it.
And I love the your recommendation to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. And you know, I think having the community that we're pulling together with this author work group and the thing and just being there for others and you know each other on is also really helpful in building relationships. Do you focus some of your time also, Mary, with building relationships with media and influencers, and you know where do you focus that type of energy?
In building community, April?
Yeah, and just you know building relationships I think is really important as well, and you know with press, with media, with others that can help get the message out. Like should we? I think you know I'm quite an introvert. By nature. So it's harder for me to put myself out there. And I'm wondering if that's something that, you know, you have overcome and it is because that's part of grit also is putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and being able to push through it. Even though it's not comfortable, you do it anyway. And because you know it's aligned with your mission and vision. And I'm just wondering if you know, do you also attribute that to some of your success, and how have you reached out and grown your own business with relationships and things like that?
Yeah, this is a really great question. Thank you for asking this, April. I'm a big believer in building a community. Actually, that is where a lot of your happiness comes from, is like belonging. Like we all internally, we all want to belong somewhere to something. And so that is why, you know, your group is so important in a publisher's journey, so that they don't feel alone. My Facebook group is a place where I think I feel safe in sharing like my concerns, my doubts. Sometimes rarely I'll share my successes. But I do think to answer the second part of your question is building grit. You do have to put yourself out there and just kind of be carefree, because honestly, when I say yes to things like this, which I'm not paid for, but it helps. Like, for example, I have been asked to be a blog poster on Helium 10 and be interviewed on their podcast, which I won't be paid for, but I'm going to say yes anyways, because this is going to help my SEO ranking. It's going to divert the traffic back to my website and or my restaurant websites, and potential franchisees or clients or parents that may be looking for children's books. So I'm going to say yes to anything that makes me feel uncomfortable and that is not paid, because well, I'm really not that, you know, big of a person. Like, I'm going to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Jamie,
Great exposure.
yeah, your successes are an inspiration, Jamie says, and Edna as well. This
Thank
is
you.
really, really helpful for others to see that they can do it, and, you know, just to try new things and get themselves in a situation where they're not afraid to fail. And that, you know, what's the worst that can happen? You don't sell as much as you'd like, you back up and you know, try a few more things and just keep going. So that's this has been a really wonderful opportunity for us to spend time with you, Mary. Does anybody else have one last question?
I do.
Before we go?
I do. I've had a lot of customer service jobs, and our number one rule was always treat the customer's always right, but treat the customer right, and that will take care of your business. So is that kind of what you're doing in the volunteering? Like, you're just making yourself available to people, and inside of that they go, wow, this is a really great person, let's buy her book. Maybe, I don't know. It seems that you're going at it a customer, not like, how can I sell my book, and who can I support and service, is kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. I can't see who's saying this.
Kathy.
Oh, hi, Kathy. Yeah, this is a good question. I think that any marketing I do has like my customer in mind. And so when I'm making a social media post, if I'm volunteering, I do have my customer in mind. Like, I'm thinking, what are my audience's concerns? Or like even my coaching videos on YouTube, I'm thinking, okay, what is this person having trouble with this week? Oh, okay, Amazon ads. Okay, scaling up. Okay, I'm going to make a video about that. Okay, what are my customers struggling with this week within the pandemic? Oh, the frontline workers are like working 24 hours, 7 days a week. Oh my gosh, we need to get food to them. Let's volunteer and do that and donate 300 meals today. So everything that I'm doing marketing wise, I would say has my customers' focus in mind. Like, I always put what they need at the forefront. I don't really think about like sales. That's not the first thing I think about when I'm drawing up a marketing idea. I'm thinking about how can I serve others.
This has been really helpful. Thank you so much, Mary. I hope you'll come back again soon. Maybe we can pick your brain a little more on the marketing side of things, which is so important for these authors.
Thank you for having me, guys. I really wish you the best of luck in your publishing journey, and would love to see you in our group. Yeah, and April, if you need me in the future, just let me know and we will make time.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day,
Thank
everyone.
you.